all Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So, my friends, in today's episode, once again, I'm going to be building upon a prior concept, a prior idea that I had released in a previous episode. And I'm going to I want to put this out there. I understand that for some people, they're going to be like, well, David, why are you breaking this up into segments about similar things rather than putting it into one singular episode like you used to do? Well, there's a twofold reason for that. The first reason is because, as I've said in prior episodes while I've been out here, my technological capabilities are rather limited. I can tell you this. Every time I've been uploading these videos, I've had to use my phone's data in order to do it because there's simply not a strong enough Wi-Fi signal out here to actually upload these files. So I'm out here in the middle of nowhere and I'm wandering around in fields trying to find the best freaking, data signal I can so I can upload these videos. And then typically I'm standing around there waiting, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour as these files are uploading because that's the only way I can do it. So that's why I'm having to do it this way, because the files can't be so large like I usually do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to upload them. So I have to break the videos into these much smaller segments of like 16, 17, maybe 18 minutes. So that's the first thing. The second reason why is because even though we're talking about similar concepts, even though we're talking about similar ideas, there are certain things within these conversations that I'm having that are very different or apply to different people. Because with today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be focusing much more on Jared Goff than I have in the past couple of episodes talking about this concept. Because the first time I talked about it in a very broad, very general kind of concept. And then the second time I talked about it, I got a little bit more concise. I got a little bit more refined, a little bit more, onto the point when I talked about Jameson Williams. Now we're going to get it all the way down to the bullseye, and we're going to talk about Jared Goff in this concept. Because I'm telling you this right now, folks. For everybody that has been a Detroit Lions fan, and particularly has been a Lions fan and has also watched my content, I've said it once before, I'll say it again, and I will probably keep saying it for quite a while. Jared Goff has been a top 10, top 5 quarterback over the last couple of years. If you want to try and start, splitting hairs, okay, he's a top 10 talent quarterback, but he's a fringe top 5 statistical quarterback. I mean, for crying out loud, the statistics speak for themselves. Goff has led in top 5 in multiple categories over the last 2 years, and his numbers are always near the top. And for me, that is because of a lot of pieces that are also playing into this. Obviously, it's not just Goff. Obviously, having Amon-Ra St. Brown, having J-Mo, having Laporta, having the best offensive line in the NFL, and having 2 outstanding running backs that give a great run game, that's all going to help. But I'm going to say this right now. Despite all of that help, Jared Goff has also shown that by himself, or because of himself in certain instances, he's also had his fair share of accomplishments through big games. And here's what I mean. If you go back to the start of 2017, which was the very first year that Goff was a full-time starter here in the NFL, which was back with the Rams, obviously, and then you fly it all the way up to now, to current day, here's some things that I've talked about before, but again, for the context of this conversation, they're extremely important. Since 2017, Jared Goff is second out of all active quarterbacks with the most 300-yard passing games. He's 7th out of that same category with the most 400-yard games. He's tied for first, again, in that same category with the most 500-yard games. So clearly, Jared Goff knows how to put up a lot of damn passing yards. But it doesn't just stop there. Jared Goff is 7th out of all active quarterbacks with the most 3 touchdown passing games. Same category in terms of active quarterbacks. He's 6th out of that group in 4 touchdown passing games. And then for 5 passing touchdown games out of all active quarterbacks, he's ranked 5th. And then to sum it all up, Jared Goff is tied fifth out of all active quarterbacks since 2017 with the most 100-plus passer rating games. Point of the matter is, to kind of sum it all up, Jared Goff is in very, very select company because of how great he is when it comes to being able to produce and win games. And why we're talking about this before we bring it into the Buccaneers is this, because Jared Goff has been able to play against a multitude of opponents and play a whole bunch of opponents very, very well. But for whatever reason, whenever Jared Goff plays against Todd Bowles for the most part, he is, I've seen it, and I've seen the stats, and we're going to talk about it here, but for whatever reason, Goff just seems to have Todd Bowles' number when it comes to playing games against his defense. And this is going to be a true testament of where it's a quarterback going up against another team's defense, or in this case, another coach's defensive scheme. Because I truly believe that because of the situation that's going on with the Buccaneers and because of what's going on for the Lions going into this week and wanting to get everything right, trying to get everything on the right foot, I truly expect that Jared Goff is going to light up this Buccaneers secondary like the damn 4th of July. I truly expect it. And here's the reason why. First and foremost, like I just said there at the very end right there, pardon me, the Bucs secondary is quite literally a mess, and it is decimated right now due to injury. And at this point when I'm recording this, I don't really know who's going to play for the Bucs, but I know who's definitely not playing. Bryce Hall's not playing because he's already been put on IR. And probably not playing is Antoine Winfield Jr., who's the starting free safety, because according to Todd Bowles, he's saying he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. But right now on the Bucs depth chart, according to ESPN, he's listed as doubtful. But chances are he's going to not play. So then you've already lost your number 2 cornerback. You've already lost your starting free safety. That's just going into this game. But then, like I've said in previous episodes, Zion McCollum, who's the number 3 cornerback, number 2 cornerback, pardon me, Bryce Hall's the number 3 cornerback. The number 2 cornerback is dealing with a concussion, which those are very unpredictable. You don't know if you'll be able to clear the concussion protocol in time to play. And then the other cornerback, who's the number 4 cornerback, he's dealing with an ankle injury, and that's Josh Hayes. So for Jared Goff to have all of these cornerbacks, either one dealing with injury or potentially not playing because of injury, that already puts a massive advantage on his side of the court. And it's not like, okay, we're not going to be dealing with their number 1s and maybe not even their number 2s, which means our number 1s are going to be going up against backup players, potential free agents that are coming in for a quick fix, or practice squad players. That's a huge advantage for Ben Johnson and Jared Goff, and I guarantee you they are not going to miss trying to take advantage of it and to exploit it. And I'm going to tell you this as well. For Ben Johnson, I also think that for Jared Goff, there is a huge, kind of side part to this whole conversation, because Ben Johnson, I think, like everybody else has already said and known, and I myself know it, Ben Johnson does a very good job of game planning with Goff to figure out how best to attack certain defensive situations. And that's how they've built this offense. That's how they've worked this offense. It's a partnership. They go back and forth trying to figure out what's the best way to attack and build the offense. And that's what they've always done. And the reason why I'm talking about that in the specific way that I am is because if you take a look at Goff's track record against Bowles' defenses, which he's played Todd Bowles' defense 4 separate times, twice with the Rams, twice with the Lions. And of those 4 games, Goff has a 3-1 record. Now, overall, in those 4 games that Goff has played, both with the Rams and with the Lions, Goff's statistical line is 144 completions to 206 attempts for a 69.9 pass completion rate for 1,533 yards, 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions with a 95.8 passer rating. Those are some pretty good numbers. In fact, one of those games, even though it was the game that he lost, Goff threw over 500 yards in. So obviously, Jared Goff is very, very keen on being able to produce against Todd Bowles' defense. But then when you go from the broad sense of it over the entirety of Goff's career, and then you just focus specifically for when Goff has been here with the Lions, this is why I talked about Ben Johnson the way I did. Because look at this. Since Jared Goff has been with the Detroit Lions, and the 2 times we've played the Bucs, which both of those were last year, which was the division title game and also, that Week 5 game, Jared Goff has a 60 to 87 completion to incompletion, ratio, which is for 68.9 completion percentage rate. 640 yards, 4 touchdowns to no interceptions with a 105.5 passer rating. Okay, that's damn good numbers. That is excellent numbers, elite numbers. So right there, you're already seeing a difference between Goff's overall career and then obviously between what he's done here with the Lions. And what I mean by overall career is everything that he's done, which includes the Rams versus just the Lions. There's a major difference in terms of everything. Touchdown to interception ratio, passer rating, all that nonsense. And then when you take a look at the averages of when Goff has been with the Lions, on average, Goff is throwing about 30 completions to 44 attempts with about a 68.2 pass completion rate, 320 yards to 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 104.4 passer rating. In fact, if I think about it, Jared Goff has all but one game thrown 300 or more yards against Todd Bowles' defenses. The only one that he didn't do it, and he actually got close, I think, was the division title game, and I think he threw like 287, 290 yards. He came close, but he didn't actually do it. So, what I'm trying to get at here is that Goff has shown that he has an ability to understand how to, counteract what Bowles is going to do with his defenses, because Bowles is a guy that likes to play a lot of man coverage, but he also likes to be a very heavy blitzer. Well, Goff is one of the better quarterbacks, actually one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. He knows how to react to that and get the ball off quick to take advantage of the open spots in coverage because of the blitz. Well, here's what I'm going to say. That ability for Bowles to blitz will work well on quarterbacks that are not used to it or can't handle it very well. Which, who did the Bucs just play? They just played a rookie by the name of Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels is not yet up to speed with the NFL's type of defenses, and he sure as hell is not up to speed with the type of defense that Bowles runs. Because it'd be, 1, the very first defense he's ever seen, but also 2, Todd Bowles is considered one of the best defensive minds in the NFL, and his defense is extremely aggressive. Well, I can tell you this right now. Jared Goff is much better than Jayden Daniels. I'm not talking about from a physical aspect. I'm talking about just from an experience aspect and also a actual passing quarterback perspective, because it's the truth. So Jared Goff already is better in being able to understand what Bowles is going to try and do against him. Then you have to take a look at all the other things that are factoring in here. Oh, that's right. Jared Goff has better weaponry than Jayden Daniels did because he has a much deeper wide receiver complement. He actually has a very, very elite tight end. And on top of that, he has 2 great running backs and the best offensive line in the NFL versus whatever Jayden Daniels had, which is obviously Terry McLaurin. He had Zach Ertz, and I think it was Brian Robinson, which those are okay players, but they don't come anywhere close to the ones we have. And then on top of that, oh, that's right, we have Ben Johnson, which, like I said, him and Jared Goff, they find the best way to attack opposing defenses, and they work together. Whereas I'm pretty confident that the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders is pretty much trying to get Jayden, Daniels to understand, the basic concepts of an offense. And so he's doing a lot of the teaching and being able to put Daniels in the right spot. Whereas with Goff, he already knows that, and he's working with his offensive coordinator to say, hey, let's look at it from this perspective. Let's try this. Let's do this stuff. It's a completely different dynamic. So for me, all of these things are huge reasons why I think Goff is going to absolutely light up the Bucs defense. But then on top of that, oh, that's right. The Commanders were on the road last week when they played the Bucs. Now the Bucs are coming to our place. That's also a huge advantage for the Detroit Lions and for Jared Goff because we always play better when we're at home. And obviously, we're going to have the home crowd advantage. So for me, I believe that all of these facts that I'm talking about, Goff's pass production, Goff's ability to play well against Bulls defense, Goff's difference between how Jaden Daniels did things and how he's going to be able to react, I think all this stuff, along with Ben Johnson, is going to make a huge difference as to why the Lions are going to use the passing game a lot to get this offense going. And then they'll use the run. They'll then use the run for more play action passing or whatever have you. That's just the way I see this going. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. But to me, it sounds like a match made in heaven. But I think I've done, again, a very good job of, trying to refine this, trying to put it down to a more specific level. So this will probably be the last time I talk about this, unless I think of something else, which I don't think I will. But having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, highly encourage y'all, again, to please subscribe. But also, make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well, so that way you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Also want to encourage y'all to share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we share it, the greater the channel can grow and the greater the channel can spread. And with that being said, to everybody, whether you've been a long-time viewer or you just tuned in for the very first time, I hope you all enjoyed the content. And I hope you all have got something in your life that makes you happy and makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.